How do you remain strong to your self-belief if you're surrounded by doubters or negative thinkers?
Oh.
Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
it's a great question, because I think it's something we've all experienced, isn't it? I don't know whether it's, I don't think for a lot of people who are the negative thinkers and what was the other description?
Doubters.
The doubters, yeah. Because I genuinely think that if you spoke to a lot of people who come across like that, they would describe themselves as realists, or they would see it as having good intentions. I don't think anybody walks around would describe themselves as negative.
Yeah.
It's more I think, naturally we see the negative before we see the positive. It's how we are designed as humans. So the thinking positive and seeing the positive is that learned behavior. And so we, for some people it's more challenging than others. But I think people who are doubters or more negative just see themselves as looking at all of the risks before they then look at the benefits, whereas others look at the benefits and then weigh up the risks. So I know that for me, being positive is sometimes a challenge for other people to be around. So I think maybe it's probably the question is the other way around, of how do other people cope with me always trying to find the positives in everything? Because actually, sometimes it is really important to sit with the negative and not kind of brush it over and get to the positive too quickly, because that is part of the process. Yeah. So I think for me, I go positive then negative, but I think you do need to have both. I think it's probably the other way around. I think it's, for me, it's probably it's that frustration of I actually think that there's probably a benefit for me to be around the doubters and the negative thinkers, because they help me ground and not get too carried away and stuff, and help me to think about the realities and the risks and weigh things up. So I think the challenge for me is to not shut them out too quickly, and to not disregard quite often some of the important things that they do raise. So I think they probably help balance, but I think my go-to is still then to think more about the positives, and kind of, I'm a bit stubborn, to be honest. So sometimes it's like, I've already made my mind up, so I am going to still do this, right? Yeah. It's like, you can talk about all of these things, but I'm still going to do this. So I think actually the doubters and the negative thinkers play quite an important role for me in keeping myself in check and not getting too carried away in seeing everything as a positive. And so I think they do serve a good purpose for me, but yeah. I'd still end up doing what I'm going to do anyway.
And that's probably a good trait to have.